Good evening, everyone. We welcome you all to our team Global. My name is Vishal, and I work as a volunteer at Adore. First, I would like to introduce our organization, Adore, briefly. Adore is a global volunteer network of students and professionals motivating youth towards positive action. This webinar is just an example of the work that this organization does. Today, we have Mr. Valentine, a developer and peace builder, who will be speaking on localizing global impact through community-led conflict and peace-building initiatives. On behalf of Adore, I welcome you all to the Synergy webinar. We also have Pradipta sir, one of our admin members, operationally in charge of Adore. Before we start, I request everyone to turn on their cameras and make this session more interactive. Those who didn't register can register themselves using the link given in the chat box. Now, without further ado, let's kickstart this enlightening session. Sir, now you can start.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening over there.
Good evening, sir.
We are not on the same timeline. So I think I would just say good day, everyone, right?
Yes, sir.
As you can see, my name is Valentine, and then today I'll be talking on the topic that says that talks about localizing global impact in peace and conflict resolution in our society. So my name is Valentine Kefas. I graduated from the University of Jos. I'm currently running my master's in University of Jos, and I'm passionate about tech. Also, I'm happy to be here today. So without any further ado, the topic is localizing global impact through community-led conflict resolution and peace-building initiative. Localizing global impact through community-led conflict resolution and peace initiative. The overview: empowering local communities to lead conflict resolution and peace-building initiatives, tailoring global strategies to local contexts, and fostering inclusive, culturally sensitive solutions for sustainable peace and social cohesion. Empowering local communities. Well, basically, the overview is talking about how we can make all those strategies, ideas, and methods in order to solve any conflict issues within our local societies. Actually, because our local societies make up the global ecosystem, right? What does it mean to localize global impact? In simple terms, is to take or adopt a global idea, framework, program, or strategy and make it relevant, effective, and sustainable at the local level through proactive implementation based on the peculiarities of the environment. Basically, what this particular slide is talking about, it's how can we bring those global ideas, frameworks, program, or strategy, making it relevant in our societies. Actually, our societies have peculiarities. What works for me in my own society might not work for you. So you have to look at your society. What are those unique factors that are in your society that when you implement those global ideas, those programs and strategies, it will work for your society? Collectively, it's an act of tailoring global strategies, also initiatives or solutions to address a particular local need or problem. It's an act of tailoring global strategies, initiatives, or solutions to address a particular local need or problem. What is that particular need in your society that has to do with conflict? What is that particular problem that you're facing in your community that has to do with conflict? There are tailored global strategies, initiatives, or solutions to address those problems. So let's go to the next slide. So 5 ways to localize a global impact. There are 5 ways to localize even more, but I just picked 5 so we could beat time, because time is not our best ally. 5 ways to localize a global impact is: number 1, understanding our local context and opportunities. Our local context and opportunities. What are those opportunities that we have in our societies that when we inject this localized and global strategies, initiatives, and program, it will solve our communal issues. Secondly, adopting global solutions to fit local norms, culture, and needs. Adopting global solutions to fit local norms, culture, and needs. Just the way our faces are different and our continents are different, also our cultures differs. So I can't pick a culture from Nigeria and try to implement it in a culture at the India. So believe me, there are things that might work for the goose but might not work for the ganders, right? Thirdly, involving local stakeholders, communities, and expertise. Involving local stakeholders, communities, and expertise. Believe me, for example, in Nigeria, we uphold, especially in Africa generally, but importantly in Nigeria, we uphold cultural values, ethics, and norms. So in Nigeria, we believe in let me say, we believe in procedures, we believe in hierarchical order. Before you do things, you have to follow the due process before you run some things. For example, there are periods that we are carrying out a couple of community projects. We just went ahead and then meet our participants, the people that our beneficiaries for the project, and then 10 minutes into what we went to do, we just saw a couple of youths gathered. They want to start some chaos because we didn't follow the due procedures. So it's very important, if you want to ensure that you be an initiator of peace, you have to follow the due procedures by ensuring that you meet the necessary the critical stakeholders, the community leaders, and the experts in that particular field that you intend to share your ideas with. And then building local global capacities to fit. Lastly, ensuring that local solutions are scalable, sustainable, and replicable. Ensuring that local solutions are scalable, we can scale it, we can sustain it, and we can replicate it in other places, right? And then examples: tailoring global education programs to local curricula and teaching methods. We can adopt those curriculums that we know that is going to tailor our educational systems, our educational programs in our own local communities, right? Secondly, adopting global business models to local market conditions and consumers' needs. Even though we know that all those strategies are not everything that will work for our communities, but believe me, there are, if we carefully look at some of those policies and then some of those strategies, those ideas are something that actually can work in our own societies. And when we inject it in our societies, it will give us a beautiful result. Implementing global environmental initiatives in a way that respects local ecosystems and community practice. Implementing global environmental initiatives in a way that respects what? Local ecosystems and community practice. So how do we localize global impact through community-led conflict resolution and peace building? How do we localize global impact through community-led conflict resolution and peace building. From the beginning, I was able to highlight how we can localize global impact in our various communities. So bringing community-led conflict resolution and peace building initiative. So you see, we are trying to inject the entire topic right now. How do we do that? First of all, we have to define what conflict is. What is conflict? Conflict, a disagreement or incompatibility between individuals, groups, or interests leading to tension, opposition, and potentially harmful outcomes. What is conflict? In my own definition, a disagreement or incompatibility between individuals, groups, or interests leading to tension, opposition, and potentially harmful outcomes. So one, there are facts that we cannot do without when it comes to conflict. Which is one, conflict is inevitable because on our day-to-day lives, we encounter series of people who might not share the same view with you, who their interests might be different with you, their values, their beliefs, and their interests. So conflict arises from differences in interest, needs, values, and beliefs. Conflict is inevitable, and conflict arises from differences in interest, needs, values, and beliefs. Secondly, conflict can be constructive or destructive. This is another fact. Conflict can be constructive or destructive. How? Conflict can lead to positive outcomes, such as increased understanding, improved relationships, and creative solutions if managed constructively. When we manage conflict constructively, it might improve relationships, it might increase understanding, and so forth. However, if managed poorly, conflict can lead to negative consequences, including harm to individuals, communities, and societies. It can cause harm to individuals, communities, and societies. This is the part of the conflict that we don't want to see. Conflict is not good, but people will definitely disagree to agree. And thirdly, conflict resolution requires a holistic approach. Conflict resolution requires a holistic approach. Effective conflict resolution involves addressing the root causes of the conflict, including social, economic, cultural, and political factors. Addressing the root causes of the conflict includes, addressing the root causes of the conflict, including social, economic, cultural, and political factors. It also requires a comprehensive approach that incorporates dialogue, it requires a comprehensive and holistic approach that incorporates dialogue, negotiation, mediation, and other forms of conflict resolution. Peace is something that we don't need to jeopardize, and then it's not something that doesn't need to be played with or toyed with, because once there is no peace, there is conflict. Economical activity stops, social activity stops, cultural activity, and even political factors. It stops. So we have examples of conflicts that took place and then it resulted to a positive impact, as we earlier mentioned. In India, the Naga Peace Accord, a landmark agreement in 2015 between the Indian government and the National Socialist Council of Nagaland. It addressed greater autonomy, economic development, recognition of culture, and rehabilitation of militants. Also, in Rwanda, 1995, during the Rwanda genocide moment, the Rwanda people adopted an initiative, which is the Garachacha Court. In 2001, the Garachacha was a customary law court that encouraged forgiveness and enhancement of national stability and peace. That period, the people that were involved in the genocidal war that caused over 200,000 loss of lives and properties. So it's between two tribes, two major, one is a major tribe and then the other it's a minority tribe. So that conflict caused a lot of lost in the nation economically, and then the lives that were lost was so massive. And then in order to adopt or initiate a peaceful process, they established that court of law whereby when you come and confess what you did during the genocidal war, you will be forgiven and then will be given a task to do. But once you did not come and then it was discovered that you were actively involved in that, you will be penalized heavily for such action. So we have peaceful processes that we need to put into consideration in order to ensure that peace is restored or peace is sustained, right? So the number one factor that we need to consider in ensuring that peace is restored, peace is sustained, is one, or peace is resolved, right? Peace is resolved, or let me say conflict is resolved, is one, dialogue. We have dialogue, efforts to repair relationships and promote forgiveness. Dialogue is a conversation that is done amongst the parties that are involved in any form of conflict. Once they agree to come to a round table, is an effort to ensure that relationships are repaired and forgiveness is promoted. Secondly, we have negotiation. It's a formal conversation to reach a resolve, right? It's also a conflict resolution process to ensure that peace is restored, right? And then the third one is still effort to promote forgiveness and relationships. Still effort to promote forgiveness and relationships. That is the reconciliation. And then lastly, among others, arbitration involving a neutral third party to listen with the aim of reconciliation. If you are bringing a third party into the entire conversation or the issue that has brought in conflict amidst parties that are involved, you must ensure that that person is neutral, and then the sole aim of that person's involvement in the entire issue has to be for the purpose of reconciliation. So, global approach on building community-led conflict resolution processes. Global approach on building community-led conflict resolution processes includes training and capacity building in our local communities. This is one of the global approach to localize. It's a strategy and it's an idea on how to localize those global ideas into our local communities. This is an idea that can be interwoven in our communities, which is training and capacity building, empowering community members with conflict resolution skills and knowledge. Training and capacity building, empowering community members with conflict resolution skills and knowledge. When you go to our various communities, you hardly see people who know the processes of resolving conflict to ensure that peace is sustained. As I said earlier, we are going to need the dialogue factor, we are going to need the arbitration factor, we are going to need the reconciliation factor, and then we are going to need the also. So secondly, we need mediation centers in our local communities. For example, the Garachacha Customary Court of Law. It was an initiative that was propelled or that was spearheaded by the community for mediation and dispute resolution. Till date, when you go to Rwanda, the Garachacha Customary Court of Law is still active. And then thirdly, supporting local peace initiative like football competition, organizing a football competition, which we all know sports unite people. So once we organize a football competition, a peaceful competition, whereby there won't be winner, there won't be vanquished, let's just organize a football competition whereby everybody showcases his talent, and then at the end, everywhere is peaceful. Street concerts, those who are talented, those who are good in music, drama, any form of art that will promote peace, is something that is a very, very huge tool in ensuring that peace is sustained, peace is promoted, and peace is managed in our various communities to ensure that conflict is resolved. Fourthly, policy support, by encouraging policies that recognize and support community-led conflict resolution. Policy that support what? Community-led conflict resolution. What are the kind of policies that our lawmakers make? Is it a policy that has a great impact or effect on us, the people? Is it implementative? Is it something that when we test run it or we sample it in our community, is there any form of feasibility in the result? So policies like that, even when the political leaders come for their campaigns and all sorts of things, questions like, what are the policy that you have set in place to ensure that conflict is resolved and peace is sustained in our communities? What are some of the strategies? What are the ideas that you have in place to ensure that the society is peaceful? As government is defined, government is for the people, by the people, and for the people, right? So if protection of properties and lives is not told by the political leader to ensure that his manifesto is delivered, then I think it's something that we need to rethink, we need to retrospect, and we need to question. And then second to the last but not least, cultural sensitivity training, respect for other people's culture, religion, and ethnic background. We are in a world whereby a lot of individuals have already carried religion and use it for their own selfish interests and practices. So you see, it's very important that we observe the fundamental human rights, which is respect for culture, respect for religious respect, and then ethnic background. Lastly, monitoring and evaluation. In all of this, if you are not going to pick anything, please and please, in the aspect of monitoring and evaluation, is very important that after ensuring that you applied all these strategies, all these ideas, all these frameworks, it's important that you evaluate everything that is going on. But before you evaluate, you have to monitor whether all those ideas that you have injected or implemented in your communities is working for your community. Because when you pick an idea that worked for Nigeria and implement it in India, or pick an idea that has worked in India and you implemented it in Nigeria, and then you just went ahead and relaxed, and you keep seeing conflicts emanating in your communities, then it means that idea is not working for your community. That was why I mentioned earlier that our communities have peculiarities, we have our unique differences. So we need to implement or pick ideas that work for our societies, right? So monitoring and evaluation is very important, assessing the effectiveness of community-led conflict resolution processes. If you pick an idea that works for your community, then believe me, you is something that you would like to sustain it and you would like to promote it, right? To ensure that peace is restored. In conclusion, peace building approach that empowers communities to take ownership of their peace. Peace building approach that empowers communities to take ownership of their peace. Peace is our responsibility. Peace is my responsibility, and promoting peace is also equally your responsibility, because if there is no peace, as I said earlier, economical activities will not progress. Social activities will not progress. Political activities, everything will be on a hold. Everything is going to be on a hold. So it's important that we make it our personal responsibilities to ensure that peace is sustained and peace is promoted in our communities. Secondly, supporting grassroots initiatives. Supporting grassroots initiatives can tap into the wisdom, resilience, and creativity of our local communities to create lasting peace. I gave the example of the football competition, peace concert being organized, and so on and so forth. Anything that will promote peace in our various communities, those are some of the things that we need to be resilient about to ensure that we promote it, and then we stand firm to ensure that no any form of conflict will disrupt such peaceful activity. Thirdly, this approach not only address the unique needs and context of each community, but also fosters sustainable peace, social cohesion, and inclusive development. Lastly, let us embrace community-led peace building as a beacon of hope for more peaceful and harmonious world. Let us embrace a community-led peace building as a beacon of hope, because without peace, we can see example of Ukraine, economical activities, political activities have to be on hold. We can see example with the Gaza and Israeli war. A lot of things are happening. A lot of inhumane things are happening that have caused a huge loss of lives, properties, and even things that will make our communities progress. So, conflict is not the way out, but a peaceful society, an economical society can only thrive in an atmosphere of peace. So it's important that we give peace a chance, we give peace the opportunity, and we give peace the whole support. Let's see peace as a human. Let's give peace the entire support that peace needs to ensure that it thrives in our various communities. I think this is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much. I believe I was able to beat the time, and then the remaining 10 minutes that is left, we'll use it for questions. So if there is any question or any gray area, this is the opportunity to just say that. Are we together? All right, thank you so much for that question. What inspired me to focus on community-led conflict and peace building initiative? All right, as I said earlier, well, before I went to the university, I'm somebody who is passionate about initiatives that will promote social cohesion and then harmony between people. I've come from a society whereby we all know Nigeria, and then we know the issues about banditry, we know the insurgency issues. So this mayhem has become very, very prevalent in our societies, that you see, for people to feed in a day is a Herculean task, and then for people to go out to even encroach into another community is a bottleneck issue. So because of this particular stuff, economical activities does not thrive. Before children go to school, it's a disadvantage to our own society, because children cannot go to school and then they grow up without having a good mindset, right? So all these factors conjoined together made me to focus on these particular societal issues that we have, which we know that peace building initiative is very important to ensure that we don't have any form of conflicts issues in our society, so we can live together in peace and harmony. Thank you. I believe I was able to answer that question. How can individuals or small organizations contribute to peace building in their communities, especially with limited resources? Especially with limited resources. Well, as I said in my presentation, human beings are the ones that live in the communities, right? And then to ensure that we have a peaceful community, a peaceful atmosphere, there are global initiatives that we can inject in our societies to ensure that peace is sustained, right? Like the football competition, what we just need is just a football. And I believe, since peace is my responsibility, peace is your responsibility to promote, is something that when you collaborate, that's why you need stakeholders, we need community leaders and experts in these things. We just need that avenue to collaborate with one another, right? Once we collaborate and then we share the ideas, and it's an idea that we ensure that our community is safe, conflict is resolved between people that are involved in that, and nonetheless, once there's no conflict, because they said, according to Hans de Morgenthau, a German philosopher, he said the absence of war is not peace. The absence of war is not peace. So it means once there is peace in your community, it means that doesn't deter conflict to emanate. So it means once we don't promote peace in our society, then there is high tendency for conflict to emanate and take over. So invariably, it's equally important that experts, stakeholders, community leaders, people that are influential in their societies can come together, collaborate, and see how to promote this particular peace building in our local communities, especially when resources are not available. So how do you measure the long-term success and sustainability of community-led peace building initiative? How do you measure the long-term success and sustainability of community-led peace building initiative? As I said, by monitoring the activities and evaluating, right? We are all staying in the communities. We all live in the community. We all live in the society, right? And then once anything happens, it results to the impact, and we also experience the impact. So how do you measure the long-term success? Is by consistently monitoring whether the ideas that I've picked is working for my society. For example, if two people are involved in an argument, and then you notice that thing can escalate or metamorphose into conflict that will cause peaceful that will cause maybe war among the two people or among the parties, you adopt all those factors that I outlined, which is negotiation. If it's among two people, you can be the arbitrator and then intercede in that regard. That you continue to monitor the relationship between those people, and then when you notice that the people have become friends, you can say that that peace has been sustained and then conflict has been resolved. That is one. And then if it's between, let's say, which is a massive one in Nigeria, is among ethnic groups, we can as peace ambassadors can intercede in that regards to using the factors that I outlined. What key skills or qualities should a person develop to become an effective peace builder at the community level? That's a very beautiful question. Thank you so much for that question. What key skills or qualities should a person develop to become an effective peace builder at the community level? Well, the number one skill that you need to develop, you have to be a peaceful individual. You have to be peaceful with yourself. Peace starts with you. That is one thing that we don't understand. If you're a peaceful person, even if somebody is trying to go into a chaos with you, by all means, you can abstain from that. So we need to learn how to respect our ethnic groups, religious tolerance too. If you tolerate people's religion, and then how we approach each other, dialogue, let's say diplomacy too. Diplomacy is equally important in ensuring that it's a viable skill to adopt in order to promote peace in a community. I believe these few response has been able to address that particular question. How do you engage and empower marginalized communities to take part in peace building initiative? Marginalized communities. Well, peace building is a process. You have to manage it before, for example, in Nigeria, till date, especially the ethnic group between the Fulani community and then, let's say, for example, where the state I'm from, that's Plateau State. For the past 10 years, a decade, it has been a process upon process of ensuring that conflicts and conflicts are managed in order to ensure that peace is restored. So there are steps in which communities that are marginalized, equality is something that has to be there. Social justice has to be there in order to ensure that communities that are marginalized partake in peace building initiative. Because you cannot tell me that you sideline me, I'm not enjoying any governmental social empowerment, and then I'm protesting in respect to that, and you tell me that I shouldn't protest because I'm not supposed to protest. So you see, such kind of activities can result to conflict, and in that regards, it might cause chaos. So that is where social justice needs to thrive. That is where equality needs to thrive, and then you abolish any form of inequality. So I believe I was able to address that particular question. Is there any other question?
There is one more question in the chat box, I guess.
Okay, how do you tailor global peace building strategies to fit the unique challenges of local community? How do you tailor global peace building strategies to fit the unique challenges of local communities? I'll still go back to my presentation. I said communities are peculiar. Every community, has its own unique nature. There are things that if I will do in Nigeria, it cannot result to a beautiful impact in India. And then there are things that you can do in India, and then so we need to look at the unique nature of our societies. One of the strategies to ensure that our community, that's when you sample the society. What is the interest of these particular people? What is the relationship between this party? What is the similarities? What are those things that bring them together? What are those things that binds them together? Those are the things that we need to ensure that we promote, we push, and ensure that those global peace building strategies fit in to the unique challenges of local communities. So basically, the entire explanation is that ensure that you know the what interests a particular community. That is number one. And then does a community have in what are the similarities that a global idea which has been implemented in a particular community, what are those similarities? What are those things that join your community and that particular community? When you are able to answer that particular question, I think it's something that you can sample it in your community. There are periods that you sample it and then you see that it doesn't work. At that particular point in time, what do you do? So you continue with your monitoring and evaluation processes. Is there any other question?
I don't think so. Any questions left? So I guess this is it for the session. So I will be proceeding with the thank you note, sir.
All
So
right.
yeah, sir.
So at this point in time, I think if you carefully look at my slides,
Yes, sir.
at the last slide, I would like to just say a big thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the questions. I hope I was able to do justice to your questions, even if I wasn't able to satisfactorily answer your question. We can still discuss further after this particular Zoom meeting. So I appreciate the entire organization for giving me this time to share from my little experience and then from what I got to understand about the topic that I presented. Thank you so much.
So if there are no further questions, we will conclude this session. Uh, Thank you, Mr. Valentine, for hosting this insightful webinar. Your presentation on localizing global impact through community-led conflict and peace-building initiative was both informative and inspiring. We extend our gratitude to all the participants for joining us today. ADOR is a non-profit organization that offers unpaid internships. Um, uh, and for more information and to apply, it is recommended to contact Adore directly or visit their official website. We have provided a feedback link in the chat box. Please provide feedback using your registered mobile number. Thank you once again for your participation and contribution to today's session. We eagerly anticipate seeing you in the future events. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead.